Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the RealTalk podcast. We're back, and now I would say this is quite a little bit step up from the home setup.
Well, compared to last episode where it was your studio, it's much better. It's more professional. So here we go. It's
actually nuts how far. If you take it from back when, like last year's summer, when we started it with Ted. Do you remember?
Yes.
Back in my living room, you know, with the front-facing camera. That was awful, that one. And now we've leveled up the game.
You learn from your mistakes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You always learn from mistakes. I mean, that's how you learn. But look, we're here. We're in different vibes once again. And we've got a little bit of a segue of different topic from what we usually go to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, usually we take more music people, you would say, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This is completely different. This is new to us. I would have to say this is one of my more... specifically favorite guests, I'd say, because I like this type of business. And talking about business, we are talking about business.
We are talking about business.
We have a businessman today.
So do you want to introduce the main man?
The main man who will be coming in is Jason Greystone.
Jeez.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I can't clap, but...
Good to see you.
You too, man.
Thanks for having us on.
This is a different vibe for us.
Yeah, it's completely
different. I'll be honest. Compared to when we've had, like, you know, people usually say we're very music orientated.
Yes.
So
I would say so, because your main thing is being a music producer, right? So.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. For sure.
But now we have a self-made millionaire, right?
Yep.
I mean, I would say that.
I would say that too, right? Yeah. So could you talk about who you are, what have you done to get to the place that you are right now?
Well...
I suppose it's quite a long story.
It's
quite vague.
Let's start. Actually, okay, so you can introduce yourself, but more specifically, in your early days when you were in your 20s, right? I'm sure you had a different lifestyle than what you have right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, I grew up on a council estate in a place called Morden in South London, and I didn't have any peers or anything like that, you know, no motivational quotes or anyone to look up to. And, the people that I was surrounded by were just, you know, they hated money. They were negative, and I didn't really have any direction, to be honest with you. And then one summer, I really, really wanted this BMX. It was a Mongoose.
I had one of them when I was younger.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They were wicked, and it had the gyro and everything, and I wanted it so bad. And my stepdad said, look, we can't afford the bike. It was £200. And he said, like, if you go and earn 100, I'll pay the other 100. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decided to go and wash cars. And basically, everyone on that estate used to moan about money. Every Friday, we'd congregate on the foot of the steps of our block. And, like, there'd be a big mothers' meeting. They'd just be moaning about money, right? And then about 7 o'clock, this guy called Roy used to come down. And he used to take everyone's money into a syndicate lottery, and their face would change, like literally, where they would be imagining how they would spend the money. And it was like, it went from misery about money to how great their life would be. And I remember thinking, like, something's not right. Something's not right there. I didn't have it sussed out. I was only 13 years old, but I remember thinking, this is weird. And anyway, I wanted the BMX, and I started washing cars. And then I washed one car, got £7, £5 plus tip, went up that night, and my dad came in my room and said, do you want anything? I'm going to the shop. And I, for some reason, gave him the whole £7 to get another bucket and sponge. And then I thought my mate could help the next day. And the next day we washed 4 cars. And then by the end of the 2 weeks, we had 4 mates washing like 6 cars a day. And I wasn't even washing the cars. I was just collecting the money. So I was knocking on doors, doing the sales, collecting the money. And I realised that if you use money the right way, you know, it's actually liberating. It's actually frees you, you know, and there's no need to hate the money. It's about how you use the money. And it was a massive turning point for me. I realised why people were so miserable around money, because they weren't using it properly. And from that point on, I just took that with me, that whole mindset, and thought, I've got to go and serve people and make money, and you know, I'm in control, basically, of whether I hate it or love it.
I suppose that's the main thing, really, is when you first find that thing that does make you money, like in your case, washing cars. I suppose it is all about just reinvesting it back into the business, I suppose, isn't it? To in turn make more profit.
Yeah, playing a longer game, a bit of a longer game, which is rare these days because everyone wants to make a quick million in like 10 minutes, and they bolt too soon.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of people that spend all their money and then go bankrupt rather than just reinvest for like 5 years, you know, and
exactly.
go ham for 5-10 years even. The life that you can live by doing that for 10 years as opposed to the life that you have flashing off Lambos and Rolexes in 1 year is phenomenal. like, it's not even comparable. And that seems to be what everyone does these days.
Yeah, I always see the videos on TikTok how to make £1,000 in a day, like just really quick ones, and it's all just people just. I believe it's a lot of it is just waffle. It's just people just trying to get the quick view. Maybe there's a little bit of truth behind it. I don't know if you've seen any, Simone.
I've seen any, and I know some of them may work, but you can. I don't believe you can get anyone off of TikTok, because the first reason you're on TikTok is because you have time to waste. So you're out there scrolling, right? You're just trying to fill in the time that you have. I doubt everyone that's going to watch that video is going to be motivated to get all the information that they took in from that video and actually go and make that £1,000, because they may realize that you won't make £1,000. You may make £50, or you may make less than that, right, in the day. So then they just give up, right?
Yeah, but the elephant in the room is stop looking for side hustles. Like, just focus on something you enjoy and go ham on that. Like, that's the key.
That's one thing I've definitely taken away recently with
just
music.
Do something you enjoy and you will earn the money. Like, you will earn the money.
It will come eventually.
It does. It can't not. And the only reason it doesn't is if you get distracted by side hustles. And the side hustle is something you don't really want to do. You're just chasing some quick, get-rich-quick thing that is not sustainable, because you know you're not going to have a success doing it, because you just don't want to do it anyway.
Exactly.
You know, who wants to do drop shipping?
Yeah.
Who wakes up thinking, I can't wait for a robot to select a hoodie in China and deliver it to someone's door? That's so fulfilling. No one cares.
Do you know what?
So how do you wake up every day excited to do drop shipping?
Yeah, that's something similar I have noticed, especially now we've left college. It's nearly been a year now, really. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's in uni has started to do like drop shipping, or like making their own clothing brand, and like
teach people how to do drop shipping.
Teach people how to do it,
because it makes you so rich.
Yeah. First of all, they've had no experience in doing it, so they can't teach people, at least not the right stuff, to be able to do it. And I just think it gives us the wrong impression to people, really.
Or vending machines.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying you can make passive income doing vending machines, you know, and it's like, well,
no, that's not it.
How are you getting the vending machine? Who's emptying them and refilling them? And like,
exactly, yeah.
That's not passive.
Work for it, right?
I think that I definitely was seeing them on TikTok a lot last year, where people are like unlocking the thing, looking at, look how many coins I've got and all of this. Just, you made £100.
Yeah, passive income is real passive income. You only get passive income from assets, and assets you either create, like a system, like an online business, or you buy them. So you can buy a stock and get a dividend, or you can buy an index fund and you can get a return, or you can buy a coin and get a return. And that is true passive income. But actually, you only get it when you build it or buy it. If you buy it, you still need to have developed a skill to know what you're buying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's loads of time and loads of effort. If you build it, that's a lot of time and effort. So income follows assets, and there's no getting around it.
Simple as that.
There's no getting around it. You cannot, passive income is not real unless you're at that point where you are reaping the rewards of putting in tons of time.
Yeah. That's how you do it at the end of the day.
Well, the reason why you would put time in is obviously to get the asset, but to put time in, you need motivation. How big do you think motivation is into becoming pretty much financially free?
I think if you need motivation, you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
If you need motivation to do something, you're doing the wrong thing, and that is your body's mechanism saying, stop doing this shit.
If you like doing it, you should just be doing it anyway.
Absolutely.
Every day.
When you need to look on YouTube for motivational videos, that is because you're trying to get encouraged to chase that thing that you've seen on TikTok. It's not because you've woken up thinking, an easy way to think about it is, if you could do anything in the world, on Monday morning, if I gave you £1 million or £10 million on Monday morning and you didn't have to work or do anything, what would you choose to do? Would it be drop shipping? And the answer's probably no. The answer's probably no.
With £10 million,
if
no.
I asked you and I said, if I gave you £10 million and you woke up Monday morning, would you do music production? The answer's probably yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you've got 10 million because you haven't got more time to focus on music. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And do you need motivation to do music?
Not particularly, no.
There you go. I don't believe in motivation. I think it's a signal from your soul to say, stop.
Well, what about motivation that you have a certain goal to achieve? It doesn't have to be specifically money. So, for example, I know Harvey, one of his certain goals is to work with artists, work with quite big artists. I see that as a different type of motivation because you still like what you're doing. You still like every single step of the way.
Yeah, that's an aspirational motivation, right? Where you're thinking about the next level. And
the next level.
The next level in your
you understand to get to that level, which you want, you need to go through times where it might get demotivating to some people. You know, let's take Harvey, for example. If he wants to work with a big artist, he might have to work with some smaller artists who may not fit his type of genre of music that he likes. But just to get to that type of network connection, to be able to reach out to his favorite artist, do you think that's a motivation that you need to have?
I think it's ambition. So if you're ambitious in something, you take the rough with the smooth, and when a footballer gets injured, he doesn't stop playing football; he just recovers and starts playing football again, right? Yeah. That's when you're ambitious. And I think ambition and motivation, two very different things. And I think the ambition is there to keep going and take the rough with the smooth, rather than motivation. Motivation for me is like going to the gym. Motivation to me is doing things that you should do, but don't particularly want to do and love to do. So when I go to the gym, I don't want to go to the gym, but I need to go to the gym. I should go to the gym to be fit. It's not first on my list. I should brush my teeth. I need motivation to brush my teeth sometimes, right? I need motivation to take the bins out.
Yeah.
I don't need motivation to look at the markets. I don't need motivation to build businesses. I wake up every day thinking of that, dreaming of that before I even wake up. Yeah. So that's the difference to me.
I was going to say, the things you said, taking out the bin and stuff, they're things that you no one wants to do. But they have to be done.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I suppose flipping the coin, talking about demotivation, especially with social media, a lot of the time you always see people in the comments, so much hate all the time for things that aren't even necessarily hateful. I know, I'm not too knowledgeable on it, but Mr. Beast just put out a video curing blindness. How's there people hating on that? And how do you overcome, I suppose, again, motivation? It's going to demotivate you. How do you what's the best way to block out those type of people?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There is the first thing that people need to realise is everything's just thoughts. So whether you're sad or fearful or whatever, or embarrassed or guilty, it's all thoughts. And it's thoughts based on what you think is what you should or shouldn't do, or what's real or right or wrong or bad or good or bad or whatever. But good or bad and wrong and right is just a made-up thing in your head based on your perception, right? There's no good or bad. There's no such thing as good or bad. If if you're obsessed with... Put it this way. There's 50% opposing opinions of everything, right? So imagine if, you love violence and you just go and kill everyone, right? Yeah. If you kill everyone on planet Earth, what have you got? Peace. So you've created peace by being violent.
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way, and you think about every single opinion that you've got, there's an opposing opinion, it then comes down to how comfortable am I with the amount of people that will not agree with me, right? So if you're a manager of your company, 50% of the staff might like them, 50% of the staff might hate them, but it's only 20 people, 40 people.
Yeah.
If you're a CEO like Jeff Bezos, he might have thousands of people hate him and thousands of people like him. And the wider you go with your circle of influence, like a President Trump, millions of people hate him and millions of people love him. So it all comes down to how much can you stomach the reprimand of the people that hate you. And that is when people get to a stage where they go, oh, I want to dim my light a little bit. I'm scared to push that far because it's not the ratio's changed of how many people disagree or agree. It's actually the amount of each side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what you see. You know, you see it time and time again. People just go, oh, I'm not comfortable with that, so I'll dim my light a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because nowadays with social media and people being everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, just in real life conversations as well, they may think that everyone has to like him, or a lot of people have to like him of what they're doing. They have to like what they're doing, and if they don't, they're doing something wrong. Right?
Yeah.
So I think, don't you think that that's what's stopping people from achieving what they want to do, what they think is the right thing, but they are scared of the consequences that come with it, which is people.
Yeah, that is it, sadly. But the truth is the consequences are in your head. Like, this is what I find. If someone says something, this is why I say, like, there's no such thing as bullies, right? And if I was to create a course on how to stop being a bully, no one would enroll, because there's no such thing as a bully. What it actually is a comment that hurts you. So that means you don't like it about you.
It's being offended by it, yeah. Yeah,
being offended, right? If you call a skinny kid fat, he'll just go, whatever. If you call someone who's insecure about their weight fat, it will hurt, right? So what I find is when you get the hateful comments, you embrace them, and if one hurts, you go, oh, why does that hurt? You know, and you look within. You don't actually go, toxic person. You actually say, thanks, that's actually made me realise that I hate something about myself and I haven't quite owned it, or I've copied someone and I'm a bit, I'm not quite on point with that, or whatever it might be. And it's actually a way of you going, wow, I need to sort that out. I am fat, or I have got this funny thing on my hair that I need to sort out that I don't quite like about myself.
Yeah.
If you do love it about yourself, it don't bother you again because it doesn't exist. Yeah. So it's not a negative comment if you love it about yourself. So the way that I look at it as, all these kind of great comments, people support you and everything, all they do is just make you fat and complacent. Whereas all of the hateful comments, they're what you need to grow. Because otherwise you won't grow. You'll just go, live in la-la land.
Well, nowadays people get way more offended by anything, right? Than they probably would before.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess that's another thing that stops them, because if they see they're allowed to be offended, if they live a lifestyle where it has to go their way, and if it's not their way, that means something's wrong. They don't take criticism. They just see it as being offended, being criticized for themselves. Do you think that's another reason why people can't achieve what they want to achieve?
Yeah, people don't understand, right? And I'll say it again, this is like the biggest key to life, is understanding that there's no wrong or right. And if someone offends you, you're offended. They haven't offended you, right? So no one can offend you. No one can offend you. You can be offended, but I can't put that onto you, because I could say, I hate kids and you love kids, right? I could say, I'm a fox hunter, and you go, I hate fox hunting, I'm a vegan. Or, it doesn't, it's going to offend, again, 50% of the people. So I wish people would just be offended rather than say, you offended me. Because that's impossible. Yeah. I cannot offend anyone.
I haven't actually seen it like that before. I haven't actually thought about it in that way.
With that perspective.
I have always just thought, I used to wear glasses, so people would always go, back in year 7 or whatever, 4 eyes or whatever.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, back then, yeah.
Because you didn't like wearing them.
Yeah.
If you loved wearing glasses,
then it wouldn't offend you, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't offend someone, it's a feminine receiving vector. It's not a projective masculine vector. Which is why, this world is
I would agree with that.
falling apart.
One thing I would say though is I think in this day and age, too many people are easily offended.
Yeah.
Very easily offended.
Because they don't take that accountability of going, I'm offended by that. Why has that hurt me? Why did that affect me so much? Maybe it's because I got touched as a kid or something, Instead of, they just say, no, I'm entitled to be offended. Let's make a rule around it so that I'm protected in that offence bubble.
In a bubble, yeah.
And it's like, what good's that?
You're never going to escape that bubble if
You'll never escape
if you let it get to you.
You'll never escape it. And that's what all these therapists are out there doing. You know, they're kind of keeping people in that darkened bubble by going like, you're the victim. You know, tell us how bad it was and all this kind of stuff, rather than saying, oh, what did you learn from your dad touching you or whatever, you know? What did you learn from it? And that's how you grow and overcome it.
How did you bounce back?
They don't do that. Yeah. But anyway.
And if you don't bounce back, find solutions for it, right?
Find solutions. Find out why it hurt you. Here's a real simple exercise. You know, if something really hurts you, you just go, right, what happened to me in the past that made that hurt? Or what, you know, why do I feel this way? And then see the good in it and love it and own it.
That's what I've always been, especially for the past couple of years, I've learned to, in any negative situation, take what's positive out of it and just use that energy to channel it into things you love and do to make you know, again, you could say money. It's like reinvest in the positivity, reinvest in the money to in turn bring out more positivity.
Yeah. Or if you are fat and you hate being fat, lose weight.
Go to gym.
Honestly, that's when you need motivation.
Yeah, it's a tough one, really. I just think people are too easily offended these days.
Going back to the question, though, you know, go out and do content and don't care. At the end of the day, you've got like 80 years on a, you know, and no one's going to care. Like literally, you're just going to die and no one's going to remember you.
That's one thing I've always thought is like, you know, you say like 80, 100 years, it sounds in turn like a long time. But when you put it in perspective of just time itself anyway, it's nothing, is it?
But why live your life worrying about what other people think anyway? You know, who cares? You haven't got time for that.
It is just wasting time.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a society where, like I said before, you're allowed to be offended. You're allowed to have this type of, you know, criticism on you and nothing being done about it. What do you think parenting has to do with how a child perceives a criticism? Do you think their parenting style is a big influence on
absolutely
their life?
Yeah, parents push everyone is trying to live by their own set of values, right? So put it this way, when I learnt to drive, I was told by my stepdad that it was better to learn to drive in a manual car, right? I didn't question it. I just learnt in a manual car. It ended up costing me more money, taking me more time because it was harder to do, right? And now all the cars are going automatic. Right, so what good was that for my future?
I had the exact same thing learning to drive.
Right.
My dad told me the same thing. Learn manual because you'll be able to drive everything.
Yeah.
But
who cares? Who wants to drive manual cars? I don't.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me.
I don't. I haven't driven a manual car since 2003 or something like that. And the point is this. That's his opinion. And now he's telling me that that's the best for me. And then by not questioning it, I'll just follow it along. And then you end up resentful because you end up in a position where you've done something, you've ended up somewhere and you're not where you thought you would be by now. And you look back and you think, it's because I followed that advice. And now I'm way off track. Now I'm not even living my own life.
So how would you go about that? How would you criticize, you know, think about it? If he says drive a manual, you take time and think, why do I need to drive a manual? What's in the future? How is that going to help me in the future?
It's not about seeing the future. What it's about is dealing with a paradox. So I believe this is the biggest skill that anyone can learn. And going back to your question on parenting, this is what I would tell everyone to tell their kids. Take pieces of advice, see the good and the bad in both, and then ask yourself, what do I want in my life? And what piece fits best with my life? So it's like, get on the property ladder, get a house, buy a house when you're young, or go to university or whatever, right? Or buy this or buy that. And you have to sit and ask yourself and go, well, he's telling me to do that. He's telling me to do that. What do I actually want in my life? Does my future life look like either of these people's lives? You know, are they living my absolute dream life? And if the answer is no, you've got to go, all right, well, I'll take that with a pinch of salt and that with a pinch of salt. And actually I'll go somewhere in the middle. I can see the good in that, see the bad in that, and I'll make my own decision based on that. And if you can just take a minute to do that rather than just follow along blindly, you'll end up being free. Like you'll be designing your own life.
Yeah.
Rather than just getting on the property ladder, going to university, all this kind of stuff. And then you figure out buying a house in my 20s was the worst thing I could have possibly done. You know, getting a university degree meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And
that's one thing, because I was meant to originally go to university. I don't know about you. I don't know. Would you?
I was
plans?
never,
No.
in the discussion for
I
university.
decided against it last minute because I thought, I know so many people in the family and just people that I know of that have gone to university, and the people that haven't have actually gained more experience because they've been in that job 3 years longer than they have.
Yeah.
So it kind of just a no-brainer, and then you're going to be 60 grand in debt anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, do you know what I mean? It's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, nice one for telling me to do that. I meet people all the time who their parents have told them to be a doctor or whatever. Doctors are the worst. They're the ones that usually from like Indians are renowned, right? They literally push their family into be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. And the NHS is full of these Indian guys who just hate their job, so resentful for it. And now they get to about 35 years old where they've capped out on like 60 to 80 grand a year. And the pressure that comes with that and the time that they have to put in for that 80 grand.
It's not necessarily worth it.
It's not worth it. It caps out. So there's no more that they can earn. They would rather be paid less to have more time. And that's when they start having to go, what would I have loved to have done? And then they reverse engineer their life, trying to do like work on their side hustle in the night. And it's like, just do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Just do it in the first place.
Especially in that type of field. I know you've got a 9 to 5, just normal Monday to Friday type of vibe, and I do a little part-time job on the side, so I've got a little bit more time to do the podcast and the music. But you only just make time to do the podcast. Like you see your girlfriend, you go out and do things in your spare time. Mm-hmm. But would you say that fitting the podcast in is still quite of a squeeze?
It's quite a squeeze, yeah. But I want to do it, therefore, by any means possible. So if I would, cut maybe my gym to half an hour less, maybe only go for 45 minutes to do something that I get to maybe once a week, I would go and do that because it's opportunity to take in. I can go gym tomorrow. I cannot do this tomorrow. I cannot do this next week. I can go gym the rest of the days of this week.
Yeah. I suppose that links it back to the ambition. You're passionate about doing this. So you just without thinking, you make time for it.
Yeah, but also in my head, there's a lot of similar to opportunities cost. How much is the podcast such as this? Is it more valuable than me going to the gym once? No, because I can go to the gym at any point, at any time of the day, right? But to come to this podcast, maybe there's only once in a month opportunity for me. Therefore, I would take it because there's a bigger upside than just going to the gym once. Because to go to the gym, you go to the gym, it takes ages. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time before you get to the good shape, right? It takes that work, but if you miss one day, you are not going to lose it all. No. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas with a podcast, if you go one day, you can win it all. You have that type of opportunity to win it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it, really.
That's just weighing up the return on value, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
But that goes with anything. That can go within a business. That can go within your passion. That can go within whether you do have a 9 to 5. It can go with anything, really. And we do it all the time, and people are afraid of taking risks, but actually you take risks every day. Like you go in a car.
To work in your car, like 1 in 4 people crash their car, right? But you took the risk because you thought you'd get to work and make some money. And that is a calculated risk that you take every day.
Exactly.
Same as going on an aeroplane. Is the holiday worth it? Is the experience worth it? And you'll get on a plane, right? So
I feel like things like that are more generalised in the public. People, especially when everyone gets a bit touchy with money. It's like, if I have an opportunity to make that, but I could lose this, if it's, especially in the financial world, people are less likely not to go for that risk. But if they're going on a holiday, because they want to break away from their average 9 to 5 life, they'll take it any chance they can get without even thinking of the risk.
And that says a lot about the position they're in, and the fact that they're escaping their life. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, "Travel is a fool's paradise." And what he meant was, it's like when you try and escape your life, that's a signal in itself that you're not doing the right thing. Yeah. If you're counting down the days to a holiday, or you're counting down the days to where you're going to the bar and getting drunk and all these kinds of things, it's a lot of it is just escaping
reality.
Anything that may devalue the holiday itself because you appreciate it less than someone who maybe works in a warehouse 12 hours shifts every day of the week. they really need that holiday. They want it really bad compared to someone who's more flexible, who can work from anywhere and they like doing their work. Don't you think that may devalue the holiday itself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. When I go on holiday, I don't really refer to them as holidays. I'm just traveling to different places, and I work. Work to me is just living. So I just live here, or I live in Spain, or I live, and I'm just doing my thing. And there's elements of a holiday where, you get to do things different than you would do in your day to day, which is nice, and you spend a bit more time with your family and whatever. But I think if you're counting down the days for a holiday, you've got to look
you're
at
desperate
your life
for
and
it.
go,
You're like, I need to escape.
What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And you're asking for permission to have like a week off in the year to go and.
That's one thing I find a bit funny is holidays within work. Having to ask, and you only get a certain amount of days off. You only get 20 days off in a year where you can have a break from what you do. And if once you exceeded that, sorry, but you got no more breaks.
We're talking about work. I have a question for you. What do you say to the people who have a 9-to-5 job? This web, it could be in retail or in the office or any type of 9-to-5 job that care a lot about it, that would do too much for it.
Yep.
And they don't get the same respect back, you'd say. I guess you don't get the same type of money back because if you're on a salary, right, whether you do work the 9-to-5 or you work couple hours more every day, you're still going to get the same amount of money.
Yeah, there's two different angles on that, right? The first one is keep being that person who has that work ethic, right? And the reason being is when we go into a recession like we're going into now, people aren't going to be, all of those people that were chasing the pay rise, they'll be out the door. The people that were working 2 hours longer will be the ones that command more money, and they'll be stuck around. They'll be earning more money. Even if they don't, that work ethic will be recognised elsewhere, and the opportunities will be there. And that's if you love the job. If you don't love the job, I would say, and you do have that work ethic, because some people just have that work ethic and they don't particularly like the job.
Yeah.
And I would say, do the minimum. I always talk about ladder A and ladder B, right? Ladder A is like your job. You want to climb down ladder A and start climbing up ladder B, which is doing what you actually want to do. And you do it on a slow process. You do it bit by bit, which is referred to as a side hustle, I guess. And you want to do the absolute minimum, because if you seriously think you are only going to get paid the same as everyone else, then do less. Be the last one in the door in the morning.
Yeah.
First one out the door at night.
I suppose the question about that really is if you are stuck in that 9-to-5 every day, Monday to Friday, but you have a dream, but you've just you've been pushed by parents or you've been pushed by family to go to uni and then have this job or whatever, and then you realise, wait, I can make my own decisions here, but you're stuck in this job where you've got commitments, you have to pay for things, a car, a house maybe, or whatever it is. How would you manage your time in a way where, you can't just quit that job, otherwise you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose things like that. I suppose that is one of the big risks to take. But how do you make time to be able to do your passion and make it work and then see in the future, 10 years' time, you're completely different, financially?
It's hard, but if you got to take the bet on yourself, because who else are you going to bet on? You're in control. And going back to what you said about the house and the car and everything, again, they're all things that you got because you thought you should get.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily... Everything's a choice.
Yeah.
Everything, literally everything's a choice. Whether you get a car or you get the new Air Jordans or whatever, it's all because you think that you should get them, because that looks cool, or there's pressure because other people have got them, or you should get on the property ladder, you should get a car, you should have a girlfriend by now. All these shoulds, and that goes back to parenting as well. You have to be careful, like what you say you should be doing, because you've got to remember it's just what you think you should be doing.
Yeah.
And you say to a kid, "Oh, you shouldn't be playing that computer game all the time." Well, what that's going to do is
make them want to play it more.
Yeah, and they'll have a guilt about it.
Yeah.
And then they'll feel like what they're doing is bad, and then they won't be able to express it fully. You shouldn't touch your girlfriend before you get married. That's why you end up with these, these.
There's some weird people out there.
Yeah, right. You can't touch your girl before marriage and all this kind of stuff, right? And then they end up as a vicar, and then they end up in jail, and it's all because of that. It's it's repressing what you naturally want to do, and you're told that it's wrong. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that from working in the office, but there you go.
No, it's a weird one, really.
Exactly.
It is real talk. We talk real.
Exactly, it just flows. I have a question then. You mentioned buying a car, getting a girlfriend, buying a house in your early 20s is your choice because that's what you think you should be doing. What would be your advice to someone who's just come out of high school? He's 18, he just finished his A-levels, or even before that, he just finished his GCSEs. What would be your advice to them on the ways to get financially free without having the pressure to now have to get a house, now have to get a car? What would be your advice?
Well, first thing is you're never going to be financially free if you're not mentally free. So if you're being told what to do, you're always going to be told how to spend your money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you've been told to get a house, you're not mentally free, right? So you've gone, okay, I'm going to absorb that into my mind and think how they think. So then you've spent your money how someone else wants you to spend their money. So the first important thing is to question everything, then be clear about what you love doing. And that's going to obviously not be set in stone from 18 years old, but there'll be a pattern to things that you feel naturally pulled towards. Like, might be music, might be football, might be whatever, but there'll be things that are like, I always say, flick through your camera roll, and there'll be a theme. It'll be martial arts, or it'll be walking in the mountains, or animals, or whatever it might be. There's going to be a theme there. Try and navigate into areas that involve that kind of creative, whatever that might be. The next step is to have long-term goals. So sit down and actually think, what do I want? And not based on, again, mentally free. So not based on what other people want or what some Instagram's got, or you want to be I've got to be a YouTuber. None of, it has to be true to you. It has to fit with you. You have to feel it and go, do I want that? Yes or no? And if you think about it like that, you'll realise it will either be not really or definitely want that. So you set long-term goals, 10-year goals for where you want to be in 10 years. Once you know that, you just start reverse engineering back what you've got to do along the way. So it's like, right, Q1, 2023, I've got 90 days. What's one goal I want to achieve? And pick the goal, break it into 7 steps, break the 7 steps into 90 days, and just start ticking away to-dos. And that's it, every single day. Yeah. And then you do that every quarter, and then you got a compound effect of, the progress that you make. And then within 2 years, 5 years, that's where the magic happens. I think the biggest problem now is that people underestimate or overestimate what's achievable in a short period of time. And when they get a little bit deflated and they go, oh, bloody hell, this is harder work than I thought, they then underestimate what's achievable in 2 to 5 years, which is like astronomical if you keep at it for 5 years. So a lot of people, as I said right at the beginning of this, they bolt too early. They're like, they don't set big enough goals. They don't set long-term goals, long-term time horizons. And then they end up going, oh, this is hard. Chop, change, chop, change, chop, change. And then searching for side hustles.
Yeah.
How would you deal with someone, what would you say to someone who's perhaps has those long-term goals to be where they want, be financially free, but something comes as a disadvantage perhaps, so maybe like a family member passes away, or he's fired from his job straight away, there's no stable income coming in, or perhaps you get a girlfriend and suddenly your goals change. You still want to be financially free, you still want to earn that type of money, but now you have other responsibilities that come with it as well, such as moving to a different job, or taking care of your girlfriend, taking care of maybe if you happen to get a child and and you didn't mean to, you still have to take care of those responsibilities, and they can hurt your goal, your progress, right?
Yeah, as the goal normally stays the same, okay, but you get things happen along the way where your values shift slightly, and maybe you don't want that goal to that degree, but having a long-term, this is another reason why it's important to have long-term goals, is because imagine like you're in a combine harvester, like mowing a field. if you look at the horizon and just drive the thing, you're probably going to go pretty straight across the field, right? But if you're looking at the floor, by the time you get over there, it's going to be all like wiggly all over the place because you're not going in a straight line.
You're not focused.
So by having a longer term goal, it stops you from getting swung around day to day so much with little things that come up, because you get like, I've got people that work for me and something could go wrong or something could, happen. Because the goal's so big, I'm not thinking, oh God, this is terrible. This is like the end of the world. It's not. It's just like, right, okay, well, this is the goal. That's the like North Star. So let's get back on track. What have we got to do? And it keeps you focused. Advice to someone who is in a position where something has happened and they've been sidetracked a little bit or knocked off course is just reevaluate. What your values are and what you do want out of your life. Financial freedom is just about doing what you love and being paid to have the experiences you want, right? So that could be working in a job every day, 9 till 5, at a job you absolutely love. That's financial freedom.
Because I suppose if you love it that much, you don't necessarily see it as work.
You're just living. And you're being paid to live. And that's what YouTubers do. Or the real YouTubers. There's a lot of YouTubers that pretend to be someone else. And then they burn out because they're not.
False identity. And
that's not sustainable. So, that's
one thing I did want to get into, actually, because we mentioned it before we started this, was the financial stability of YouTubers, of certain people. Now, with people like KSI losing like 7 million, and he said that publicly as well. What do you think about these people going into that type of world? Do you think that's something they should be doing in terms of putting the money they do make from this job that they love?
Yeah.
And it's just getting wasted away.
I think there's like, there's I remember seeing him say he made like millions in NFTs at one point, and I thought he didn't make any money because it's illiquid. It's only you only made money when you make the money, when you pull it out, right? And you actually spend it on sandwiches or whatever. You're not doing that, so you haven't made millions. And then when he says, "Oh, I lost millions in crypto," you think, well, did you? Because you've probably just transferred it in Ethereum to something. So technically it's millions, but actually you never lost anything.
You didn't lose anything, you just reinvested it.
Yeah, so, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Whether he actually put 7 million into crypto and lost it, you're stupid if you put 7 million into crypto. You're stupid if you put more than 1% of your liquidity into crypto, in my opinion. Yeah. Because it's a speculation and you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, lots of people, most people don't know what they're doing with their money. Most people go broke, and it's thousands and thousands of times over. We've seen Mike Tyson, Kanye West, all the rappers, and they are broke. And what
Kanye West is broke right now.
yeah. But what people don't realise is you can look rich but be broke. Most of my clients that I work with, they're multi-millionaires on paper and can't afford to live. Yeah. And the reality is, you need income to live, to pay for your lifestyle, right? So if you own a big house and you own lots of cars and you own lots of watches, all your money is frozen in those things. Yeah. You can't break a brick out of your house and pay for breakfast with it. Just don't work like that, right? So liquidity is what wealth is. Yeah. Rich is just a facade, a short-term facade that usually goes down the pan and ends up in bankruptcy. And kids are thinking, I want to be like that guy because he's rich. Well, he's not rich because he can't afford to put the petrol in his car.
That's just what he portrays himself on social media.
Yeah, and and then there's they hire these cars, and then and it goes on and on and on. But the thing is this: most people just don't understand how to manage money, and the reality is, liquidity provides income. Passive income, it comes from liquidity, and if you've got everything in houses and bricks and cars and Michael Jordans, you haven't got money. That's another penny you've then got to go and earn. Yeah. For every penny you spend, you've got to go and earn another penny. And every penny you spend on something that doesn't pay you an income, that's gone. You've then got to go and work again. Yeah. And there's only a certain amount of hours in rappers, and there's only a certain amount of hours in footballers, and there's only that's why they're all broke. They all go broke. They literally go bankrupt. So wealth is time, and time comes from having income, passive income, true passive income, from assets. And assets you buy or build, and that's it.
Talking about assets, I know you're quite big into stock trading, right? How did you get into stock trading?
I invest in stocks. I trade forex.
You trade forex?
So I don't actually trade stocks because I never really got into stock trading. But I invest in stocks and I trade.
When did you start?
When did I start? Yeah, started investing late 20s, mid to late 20s, and then forex trading 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you choose forex instead of stocks?
It was just basically I had a plan to completely replace my income and be financially free. But unlike most of the people out there, I had a spreadsheet that actually told me what I needed to do. So what returns I needed, how to diversify. And I built the spreadsheet, and then I just worked harder and harder at replacing my income. And it got to a point where I needed to accelerate a little bit. I needed some higher returns, and I was looking at higher speculation like online poker, options trading, and then I blew about 40 grand on forex trading, and that's when I thought I've got to get good at this, and then I spent about three years. It took me about 3 years to consistently generate a profit, and
in those 3 years you were learning, how to get better, right? While still doing forex trading.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? Because obviously, if you see like a big breakthrough, you might want to go for it, but yet you're not at that level where you know how to handle it if something goes bad.
Yeah, I went into forex trading as a business person.
Okay.
I didn't go in as chasing this has got to pay for my shopping.
Yeah.
I went into it as this has just got to make me another 1-2% a month. That's how I went into it. Okay. And I was very methodical about it. I was obviously good at managing risk at that point. I had about 20 employees on my team in a business at that point. I was pretty sensible. And then I realised it was bloody hard. So I put in a lot of hours. I'd come home from work. Family would go to bed 10 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning. I'd be learning, and then all day Saturday, some Sundays in the coffee shop, just back testing strategies and things like that. And then I did 610 hours of testing, and then had a breakthrough, and that was it. And after that, it was just 2% a month, 1% a month, 3% a month, and then my biggest year, well, not including the 2020, but on my first good year of trading, I did 78%, which is
70%,
78%, in the year
of your income.
70% of my account.
Oh, of your account.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty good.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. What about, you said you never got into stocks. Well, is there?
I invest in stocks. Yeah. I invest in stocks.
You invest in stocks now.
Yeah.
But you didn't before. You were just forex.
No, I invested first into stocks.
Into stocks, and then you went to forex.
Yeah.
Which one would you prefer?
It's just different. I mean, my approach to stock investing is very much value investing. So it's about, understanding the financial statements, looking at the financials of the business, and then performing some qualitative and quantitative analysis on whether or not I'd love to own the stock, forming a story of the business and making an informed decision. And then buying and buying and buying and buying it, to hold forever. I don't sell the thing. So
you're there to invest, not to trade, right?
Yeah. Any stock that I invest in, I hold forever. I do have a strategy where I sell them off on the month 13. I do it for a year, and that's called magic formula investing. But other than that, it's just very
so you
buy and
use
hold.
like balance sheet statement incomes from the companies on the stock market to choose what stock to buy. How do you choose what forex to buy?
So trading is completely different. All trading is pattern recognition. So the charts over there, that represents human behavior every day. And in human behavior, there's things that play out over and over again. Because human emotions haven't really changed for about 6,000 years. So when you see patterns play out time and time again, what that allows you to do is build rules around those patterns to capitalize on the move. So all you're doing is building rules, board game rules, around the pattern, and playing that board game rules all the time. And then you know that over a long period of time, you have a profit.
Okay. So it's quite different.
Very
stocks,
different.
right?
Yeah. I wouldn't even look at a chart for stock investing.
Really?
No.
You just, whatever happens.
Trader hat comes off and it's just value, value in the business, return on value. I look at dividend, dividend returns and things like that, whether they pay a dividend, and I look at how they're using the cash in the business and how efficient they are, and things like that. Whereas trading, I'm just looking for patterns.
For stock, do you care more about the dividend or the potential or profit of the actual value?
Yeah, ultimately, I just look at the growth, forecast the growth of the business. Do I believe in the business? Would I like to hold the business for 10 years even if I didn't get a penny? Do I understand the product? Do I use the product myself? Those kind of qualitative questions. And then I look at the value on the stock price. And then if everything aligns, then I'll just buy and buy and buy and buy.
Okay.
But there's stocks like, the S&P 500 is like 500 of the top performing stocks in index fund.
I know that one.
Right. Well, if you buy into that, I mean, if you look at a chart of that is always going to go up forever and ever, right? Because that's human evolution. That's the best minds on the planet. And if that ever goes down, we've had it. No one would be worried about money. It's like the end of the world if that chart goes down.
The apocalypse is coming.
Yeah, right.
So would you say to invest in that, because it did go down for...
It goes down momentary, yeah.
Yeah, but...
It goes up 10% every year.
Exactly. So you would say that's the best thing.
If you don't know what you're doing, it depends what age you are. If you're like under 30, you want to be putting as much reinvested capital into you, like in you and your ability and your business.
Yeah.
And just reinvest everything into you, because you're going to get a better return than anything else out there. And as long as you're using it wisely and you're not chasing get rich quick and all the rest of it, you're actually building an asset, that will pay out way bigger than the S&P. When you get to 30, you start to go into your wealth accumulation phase, where it's the best thing you can possibly do, because most people can't even beat 10% a year.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. So just depends where you are.
Completely segue from the stock trading and forex trading, investing. You own businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many businesses do you own?
6 or 7.
What type of things do the business do? What do they arrange?
Yeah, so I own a wealth education company. I own a trading education company / prop firm, and I own a social media management agency.
Mm-hmm.
I own a podcasting agency. I own a platform called Sanctuary, where you can build your online programs and memberships and portals and things like that. A coaching business. Yeah, so all different.
They're all quite revolved around you, right?
My angel investments are like tech. So I own a company called Score App, which is just a tech-based business, and I angel invest into businesses as well, where I just like a shareholder, but no involvement.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, most of the businesses revolve around what you like to do and your skills, right?
Yeah, always in what I understand. Yeah.
Okay, so you would never go to like a different type of genre, like music, something like that.
Well,
you have.
music, yeah, I probably would, because I've been doing music all my life.
Yeah.
Okay. That's true. But you know what I mean. You wouldn't. I
wouldn't invest in something I don't know, like a tire business or a car mechanic or anything like that. No, if I'm going to do acquisitions, which I'm looking to do more of this year, it would be about buying distressed businesses. But even them, I wouldn't be going for like. It would be very simple, like laundrettes. Something I understand.
Yeah.
And
did you have these businesses before COVID?
Yeah.
How did the situation affect them all?
I mean, the education businesses rocketed because everyone was just learning. And
then, that's true, yeah.
And then I launched the online platform and the social media management agency in lockdown. So,
would you say you suffered much from it at all, or
no?
You've gained more than you suffered.
Yeah. So we
that's quite lucky. I know a lot of people did suffer, or did they?
Yeah.
Is that what they? Is they just saying that? Or?
I'd say you took the opportunity. You saw, people going to be at home. They're going to have more time to do anything.
Yeah.
So, because as an example, so when I was at home and in COVID, that's when I started researching about stocks because I was already thinking for the future. There was no job that I could really get that can fulfill me, because unless that job makes me £10 million a year and has my has what I like, so just random things like cars, football, basketball, things like that, which is impossible, then I would like to get into stock trading because, you know, it relates to money, which I like. So that's when I started. And I guess that's why a lot of people start too, because they have way more time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We saw a lot of people come into the, you know, trading world in COVID. I had my best day ever on the 3rd of April. 3rd of April, 2020. I actually stopped trading for a week or so because I did about 120 grand in a day, and that. Yeah, we had some tequilas and stuff, but it was, you know, that affected me a little bit, and we saw a lot of people go into the trading space, realize actually this is harder than I thought, and then completely drain out of the trading space. Like they were gone by the December. It was like there was no one because everyone got so burnt. And then the next year we see people go into my more wealth education, because it's like, crap, there's steps before trading, you know, I need to actually get my money game together and test the water a little bit. So yeah, we were there for both phases. It was great.
Fair enough. Talking about your wealth, would you say wealth generation trade?
Just wealth education.
Education. Someone that you may know, Andrew Tate. He's got his own little.
He's on it on everyone, you know.
wealth education. What do you think about it? Do you think, you know,
Hustlers University?
Hustlers University. You think that's more important than just normal education? Especially
do you want my honest answer?
Yes. That's it's real
talk.
Yes.
I think Andrew Tate's a very clever. He's been very shrewd in what he's done, because he's positioned and marketed a product by disguising himself as the hero that's trying to get everyone out into be the hustler. Yeah. Right. But what he's actually done is create a product where he's the god and everyone's his minions.
Yeah.
And he's basically said, you have to go into this thing, but the only way you're going to get value is if you go and market my stuff. And then they created all the social media things around him, which was genius. Right. But what he's done to them is make them his minions, and that's what he's telling people that he's not creating, which is genius. But any business that pops up as quick as that is going to drop as quick as that, and well, he's in prison.
Look where he is now.
He's in prison. So again, long-term time horizons, more sustainability. That's the way that I would think. And if something is £50 a month to go in and learn from. You know, the problem with the product, right, is this. Let's just say that I say, right, I'm going to get 5 of my best entrepreneur mates, and they're going to be available in a Discord, right? And you can pick their brains. I'm also going to give you some education on how to start your own business, right? Kid 1, 18-year-old spotty teenager comes in and says, this is awesome, right? I've got access to 5 billionaires, couple of millionaires, and I can ask them the questions. And I'm learning that if I just start a social media channel of Jason and his clips, I can get people into this and get a cut of the membership, right? And then 30,000 kids do that, and then there's no value. So where's the value of being part of that membership? You're not learning anything other than saturated loads of kids on all doing the same thing. So then you go, well, there's no value here. So you drop out and the business just collapses because... There's no value. There's no true value. It's an actual Ponzi scheme where there's no product.
Yeah, it's a service more, right? You're just taking TikToks and put them on TikToks, right?
Yeah.
And then when that's all done, because everyone's gonna go and do it, so you won't get paid as much.
Exactly.
Realize it's not really worth my time.
It's not. Yeah, and the only person that gets paid is him, because he's got £50 a month for 30,000 users, and that's it.
It does blow my mind.
That is what you'd say passive income, right?
Yeah, that is passive income. Yeah, but again, he's got the skills to build that thing. He's had to put the money in to buy that asset. that asset of a platform, but then it's not long term, and if you get money quick like that, you spend it quick. And then,
which he does. You see him rolling around about 3 Bugattis and
and that's not wise. And now he's in prison. Now he's probably lost. Had he not spent all the money that quickly, he might have a cushion to come out onto.
Yeah,
but probably he's probably on his arse now.
Tough times.
Yeah,
top G, the bottom G.
I'm sure he'll be fine because he's smart and switched on and what have you. But it's a very emotional way to live. It's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Exactly.
I'd rather just build something that's long term.
I have a question to you about cars. All right, I know that's not your expertise. Business is more your expertise. But my question is specific to, at what age should you buy a car? Like, if you don't need to buy a car, if you don't need to.
I literally don't have a car. So there's a website called Ride or Drive, and it will calculate whether it's more efficient for you to use taxis all the time based on your mileage and where you go every day, or get a car. And at the moment, I probably guarantee it's taxis more efficient at the moment. Well, it is for me anyway. I don't leave this house, but when I do, I get a taxi that's 20 quid, and that's it, once a week, rather than paying 400 quid for a car and
plus fuel and tax,
fuel, insurance, tax, MOT, tyres, all that kind of stuff. So I literally got rid of my car in 2019 for that reason.
So you'd say, like, if you don't need a car, if you look at what you do and how you live your life, if you don't need a car, don't get it.
Yeah. Why you only get a car if you need one.
Okay. Well, no, I'm just thinking. No, I was just saying because personally, I am because I'm able to work from home, but I am thinking about getting a car just for the ability of going to places that I may not be able to. So I take the train a lot instead of driving.
So you don't have a car now?
No.
How much would a car cost you?
Well, I would like to get it as cheap as possible. So instead of getting it for finance, I would like to pay by cash. My budget would probably be around £5,000. I'd add another £1,000 from insurance. So I have a £6,000 car, right? Because I won't use it as much, so the mileage won't be as high in 3-4 years' time.
Yeah.
I'm able to have it for a longer period of time. Whereas if I were to finance it, I would probably pay double, and then I won't use it as much. I won't need it to be as new or as low mileage as it is.
Okay.
That's my plan.
How old are you?
18.
Right. How about just pretend you're getting the car, but spend the £6,000 on you and doing something like investing it or...
See, to that question,
I've made him think now.
see,
unless it is an investment, unless you are going to get a return on having a car.
Well, the return is I won't be. I don't need to take the train. I don't need to take buses.
Yeah, right. So you'd have to weigh all that up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But that's my personal experience with it. Yeah. But to people who because I know a lot of people, as soon as they finish as soon as they finish school, they're like, let me go and get a driving license, and let me go and get a car. That's done. I don't need to worry about it ever again. I have a car, stuff like that.
Yeah, they work through this list of what it takes to be an adult. All right, I've done that. Now I've got to go and get a loan. Now I've got to get a house, get a wife, have kids. And they're going through this list without even... Because that's what you should do at that age.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 30. I should be doing this by now. I shouldn't live at home with my parents at 30. Why? Why? Who said that? Like, seriously.
No one really. That's just
Someone's
a general
got a lot to
idolisation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How about just focus on building a life that you love and weigh up everything? Like what I said at the beginning. Question the car. Look at rideordrive.net or whatever the website is and just go, right, okay, here's the financial... Is there a value? Do I love cars? Some people love cars. I've got a guy that works for me who loves cars. He's got a £60,000 car, but he loves cars. Like he would, if you'd asked him what he was doing Monday morning with £10 million, he would go and buy loads of cars.
But then in turn, the passion he's got for the cars is worth it.
Yeah,
for him,
he would
isn't
live
it?
in his cars and not live in a house.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But if you're doing it as a necessity, it's just a financial, weigh up the finances and weigh up the return on value. And
but that's the thing, because so going back to my personal experience with it, I don't know how to weigh it up because it's for the future. Except for money wise, don't take in the train, don't take the buses. How do I weigh it up when it's just me being able to go to more places, me being able to do more, be me flexible. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to go to some places because the train doesn't stop there, the bus doesn't stop there. How am I able to weigh something like that up?
Look, I think getting a car at your age is important because it gives you freedom, and you need to taste more and more freedom and flexibility and mobility to have more options and to have more possibilities, because you need, I might need you to come here and do something for me, for example, and you can just come here, whereas you can't get the train or whatever, and the opportunity's gone.
Exactly.
There's an opportunity cost, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah. So, I'm not going to tell you not to get a car or to get a car, but I would say the only element that I would weigh up is just a financial element. Maybe not get a $6,000 car. If you really want to, imagine you could invest $5,000 in something and just buy a £100 car or a £200 car. It's that. Don't really have an answer for you.
The issue with me is I'm on. I do finance my car,
right?
Which, when I look at it, could have been probably the wrong decision at my age, because it's a contract that you have to stick to unless you pay off the bubble and all that kind of stuff. So I've got 4 years until I'm free from that contract. So my first car wasn't the best. So when I first started getting a little bit of money, I was like, I'll get a nicer car. I definitely wanted one because I use it all the time. But when I think of it now, I'm like, I've got 4 years left until that's gone, unless I have a breakthrough with RealTalk and pay off that bubble, because that is a big chunk of my money gone.
Yeah, there's pros and cons. Like, if I was to buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, right, I would get it on finance. I would never outlay for a car because it doesn't make sense. There's no if finance APR is 3.9%, and let's just say I'm getting 10% per year on my index funds, it doesn't make sense to take $100,000 out and lose it into a car when I could just pay 3.9% and still get 6% passive income. So, rich people, true wealthy people, they don't actually put lumps of cash into anything, and they certainly haven't got lumps of cash in their bank, because that's no good. So there's that element, but there's also the element of outgoings every month, and there's something called debt to income ratio, where how much of your income is spent on debts, and that has a direct impact on your mental well-being. Wasn't
it like quite a high percentage of the people in, I don't know whether it's in the country or the world, most of their money they do earn does get spent on debts?
Most countries. Australia is like 200%. They spend 200% of their income on debts every month.
That's crazy.
Denmark's like 300 and something percent. It's crazy. And UK is 160%.
Talking about debts, me personally, I don't really like debts. That's one of the reasons.
Don't think anyone does.
Well, I know, but I'm not even willing to take the risks. So, such as university, because I didn't want to specifically be a lawyer. I didn't want to specifically be a doctor there, that I need that type of training qualification. I just chose, I like business, I like money around that. So I chose the apprenticeship route, which, just even compare it against university, it's much better. But I don't like debts. That's a big reason why I didn't go to university. If I was going to get a car, it wouldn't be on finance because I don't like debts. Do you think would it be ever wrong to be in debt for a purchase that you make or an investment?
Yeah, again, like there's no wrong or right, but there's debts, there's good debts and bad debts. So this is why I love debt to income ratio, because you can calculate, it takes into account what debts produce income for you and what debts don't. So let's just say that I bought a property, but I rented it out, and that was I got a mortgage on the property and I rented it to a couple and they were paying it, right? That's not a debt that's costing me money, because they're covering the debt, and I might even be getting a little bit of income from that as well, right? So that's a cash flow producing debt. And actually, if you want to become really wealthy, you have to be very comfortable with taking on lots of that. People who start businesses, people who go and get investors' money to take debt to investors to start tech businesses and open a shop or whatever it might be. You have to get really comfortable with that. And a lot of property gurus, the people that have done really well in property, they got hundreds of mortgages, because that's how they get the leverage for the next house and the next house and the next house. So, not saying that's a great thing, because I know a property guy who's got probably about £8 million worth of property, and he's like near suicide because he can't afford his own house because he can't afford the mortgages. Like, and if someone moves out, he's hemorrhaging like 10 grand a month, and he's got to go and find 10 grand a month. Anyway, that's a whole new thing. But I would say you have to understand what a good debt is and a bad debt is. And a good debt puts cash into your pocket, and a bad debt doesn't. So going back to the car example, I would go and get a loan from the bank to buy a Ferrari because that 100 grand would actually put cash into my pocket if it was invested elsewhere. So I put it into my trading account or my stock account or whatever, and that's paying me 10, 20% per year, 30% per year. Why would I put that into a car? I might as well just put the minimum deposit down, take a loan from them, and pay 3.9% per year. So it's weighing it up, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I guess if you put it into that perspective, then you're not really... You are in debt, but you're not losing money, like you said.
No.
Because you're gaining more or the same, whilst your outflows is the same or less.
Yeah, and banks, a debt is a loan is a product of a bank. That's all they've got to sell. So they have to sell it to good people. They don't particularly want to give it to people who are going to default. So they'll give you lots of loans. And if you're wise, you'll take them all. Because if you're using them to buy things that pay you, you can actually become financially free just taking loans from a bank and putting it into things that pay you.
What do you think about banks? Well, I'm not sure if banks give you the money or the loans, but university are able to give you £60,000 loans, £50,000 loans, just to attend the university and finish the 3-year program, 4-year program. Whereas when you do want to buy an asset, the bank will not give you the loan for it.
No, because you have to question that, don't you? That's the whole system.
They put you in the matrix.
That's the whole system, and you have to wonder why. Yeah, honestly, you have to wonder why that is so easy. Like, why do they want you to go to university and not actually go and build a business?
Yeah.
Do you think university will ever get so saturated where people like teachers will actively promote not to go to university?
We've just seen ChatGPT pass a Harvard exam, so there's there's a lot of.
I didn't know that. That's mental.
Yeah, so I think schools and universities are really shaking up right now. There's.
It's definitely going to change in the future. I don't think schools and that, give it 20 years' time, are going to be completely different, I reckon.
They will. The only reason you need school at the moment is if you genuinely want to be an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, or some kind of scientist, because you have to go through that accreditation that was made up by someone
that job,
that was relevant back then to get a grade. But anything other than that, you don't need any qualifications.
Yeah. I always thought, with my business teacher, I just see on TikTok on a regular basis, you can't learn to start a business from someone that hasn't got a business or has never experienced that process.
Exactly.
They're just being told a curriculum to say to me, which I'm going to believe because I'm young and that's just what I'm, told to believe.
Yeah.
But in turn, they don't know what they're doing.
My careers advisor asked me what I wanted to do when I left school, and I didn't have a bloody clue. But I knew one thing: they were just getting a salary.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I thought, what could you possibly advise me on?
Yeah,
I'd made more money than or more creative money doing the car wash that summer than they'd made, or that they'd done in their life probably. So, yeah,
it's crazy. How long would we be going for? 1:15. Yeah. That's the longest one at the moment, isn't it?
I think so.
It hasn't at all, I'll be honest. But yeah, that's crazy. We talked a lot about money, business, investments, financial situations.
I have one more question that I asked to everyone.
Are you going to ask it?
No, I'll ask it to every guest that we have on, right? Who is the most famous person in your phone contacts? In terms of popularity, followers, you choose.
Actually, I coach a couple of YouTubers, so it's probably not fair because they've got like probably 6 or 7 million subscribers. But I'd probably say the most famous name in my phone book, who I can message, is a guy called Patrick Bet David.
Patrick Bet David?
Yeah, who runs a company called Valuetainment.
Okay.
He had Tate on his podcast.
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I
There we
thought
go.
I recognised the name, and then when
It's
you
like
said that,
3 mil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Damn,
Okay.
that's crazy.
That's the question.
Compared to Carell. Sorry,
Yeah.
Carell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's nuts. I think we should.
what was the question? What do you coach? What do you coach when you coach these people?
Just wealth education. So how to use their money, what to invest in, how to build assets, how to buy assets.
Do they come to you or do you come to them?
Yeah, they came to me. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the whole family. I think you've had like it's Fraser and Jarvis and
We've had Shay, we've had Harry.
Right.
Yeah.
and his mum and his brothers.
So you're the man to come for wealth.
yeah. That's the way to put it.
If you, yeah, and the thing is this, like, it's not about making millions and millions and billions and billions. What it's about is being financially free, and they're not related.
Yeah.
They're not linked.
Yeah.
Having £1 million does not mean you're financially free.
Because you could still be working your ass off and
Yeah.
not being happy, but you got that money. But like you say, that's not freedom. That's,
Or you could have £1 million in your house, or
Yeah.
on paper,
All that, yeah.
whatever, and it's not the one. And also, you could be earning millions. So, for instance, there was a trader that I worked with who was doing $1 million a month, and he had no money. He was blowing $1 million a month. So everything's relative. Like, he was going into the clubs in New York and getting the spray flipping, the champagne, and doing the whole spectacle every night. And he was blowing $1 million a month. He had no money. So you think you earn more?
Did you work with him?
Yeah.
Did you not advise him against that?
Yeah. Now he's got money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, now he's got money. But the thing is this: he's now got freedom, and he can think straight rather than be on a hamster wheel, thinking he's got to earn that again.
I suppose that's more, splashing out your cash on nights out,
but
things like that. It's
doesn't
definitely more the younger mindset.
It doesn't matter how much you earn; you'll always
Yeah.
raise your expenses to within an inch of your income,
Yeah.
or more.
Was he earning that money through trading?
Yeah.
And well, if he's smart enough to get into such a hard genre of making money, right? Because there's a lot of research, you need to do a lot of try and error, right?
Yeah.
Is it just like a mindset that he had that's what he had to do?
Whether you're doing trading, car mechanic, chiropractor, they're all businesses. And how your ability to earn money is not related to your ability to manage your own personal finances. Business, if you're crap at business, you're crap at business.
Yeah.
And if you're crap at managing money, you're crap at managing money. And I've worked with people who earn 30 grand a year up to, 3 million a year, and they're in the same boat. If you took away their income tomorrow, they'd live for about a month before drastically having to change their lifestyle. It's nothing to do with how much they earn. It's all how they manage what they earn. So yeah, it's about educating them on that.
Fair enough.
Do you wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it. That was a good response. Let's wrap it up.
It's quite hard to get a bad response out of it.
Yeah. That's tough. Good speaking, good talking,
Yeah, real talking.
Real
Yeah, well.
talking. That's what I like, getting the name out there. I feel like same with Real Talk is we are starting to build that brand a little bit more, where people go look at us and go, oh, they're Real Talk.
Yeah.
They recognise the logo. It's here, there. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing that we do that I think, I'm not sure, but I don't think that many podcasts are out there that just go to not random, but to other people's house.
Yeah, we like the podcast to be portable.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
to go
one
out
thing
and
that
about,
we do. Because as much as we started it, me and Harvey started it, I really enjoy having guests on.
Yeah.
Not just because of showing people, just me learning from the guests, their experiences, what they've had.
That's the best part.
That's my personal way of thinking when it comes to this podcast.
Yeah, they're great. They're great ways to get your message to people and to meet new people and learn.
Yeah,
and
for
grow.
sure. Definitely. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up.
Cool.
What episode was this?
I think 11 perhaps?
It might
One.
have been. Yeah, one. Yeah, yeah. Episode 11. I'm pretty sure. I always get it wrong anyway. But yeah, I guess we'll see you in the next episode next week. Peace.